Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Hope you're having at least moments of wellness, well being, amidst everything else. So, today I wanted to share. I've got a new insight happened, and some people find value in hearing about these ideas as they emerge. So, I wanted to share this really cool idea. So it's a strategy. It's a strategy about dealing with the part of living with long term chronic illness in which uh, people find themselves in these repeated cycles of "I don't have enough capacity to do to get all the things done that you need to get done in life. Uh, and the things you want to get done. And so there tends to develop, at least for some people, the cycling of when there is a window of possibility, when there is some capacity, some cognitive function, mental clarity, physical energy, other physical capacities, low enough pain, whatever it is the particular uh, variables an individual is dealing with. There's enough of the components become available so that a window of possibility opens up. How to spend this window of possibility. One thing that happens is one thing that can happen is that um, there's a tendency to want to get as much done as possible within that window of possibility. Unfortunately, for some of us, that can lead to overdoing it, overexertion, overextension, which contributes, at least in part, to a next down cycle, a crash phase. And then when that happens, overextension during a period of possibility and um, uh, and overextension, and then the crash phase tends to be, at least in my experience, deeper and longer than it otherwise would have been. So I'm going to set that aside for the moment and bring us to this strategy. So here's a monthly planning calendar that I use. You can see some of the month has already gone by. And the strategy is that after I have a trip to town scheduled, something which is going to involve chemical exposure, which is one of my biggest health capacity users, then I know this is one of the times when there is some predictability in what's going to happen. So I know there's going to be downtime. So what I do is I put a pencil slash across in at this time 14 days afterwards, because right now, depending on what exposures are and how they just hit my systems at this time, um, it's a 10 to 14 day recovery cycle. So, um, by putting this in pencil, I can. It's a reminder. It's a reminder to me that this is a recovery time, likely time that's going to be needed for recovery. I've tended to think of it as downtime, and when I can have it be a designated rest day. It's much easier for me to accept in the radical acceptance sense of the word that this is what's needed, this is what's happening. Rest becomes the primary, rest and recovery becomes the primary um, goal, if you will, for that day. And so, if stuff that happens to be on a to do list gets done, then that's like gravy, that's extra. So, that's fun. However, I repeatedly find myself going back into the wanting to get things done and then starting to do stuff when there's capacity and then getting caught up in the doing and getting stuff done. Um, so let me just check my notes here. Okay, so the insight that came this morning was that this strategy, it's not only about scheduling the time that's likely needed or possibly needed for recovery. Um, it's also a sustainability strategy. Sustainability. So it becomes not simply about, oh, I'm not going to be able to do stuff on this day or 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 this day, and it goes on into the next month. Oh no, I'm going to have to do rest, which of course, resting is doing something. It's not a passive activity. However, it's okay, wait. So it's not simply about um, downtime is likely needs to be happening. So don't schedule other big stuff like exposures, which I ended up doing here for 2 days from now. Here, I did it, and then it took hours for me to come to clarity, and then I needed to sleep on it to be sure. Um, well, actually, just because I needed sleep to cancel this appointment, which was a going out of the house. You see, it's on a pencil crossed out day, which I had ignored when I made that appointment because guess what? The day I wanted to try to do it when I was going out already was they didn't have any appointments except for the very first thing in the morning when I'm not awake enough and functional enough to get myself out to town. So I went into scarcity mode. When is it possible? And the only time they had for an afternoon appointment was 2 days from now. Um, okay, so back to the sustainability part is that um, it helps me get out of the just this moment reactions and strategizing that can take place. It's like, what do I need to do in this moment? I need to rest. But this thing needs to get done, and the laundry and the mail has been sitting in the box for a week, and whatever else it is. That it creates sustainability by utilizing that to preserve capacity. So the goal becomes a longer term focus rather than immediate in the moment um, wondering and possibly worrying about what am I going to do today? What is today going to be like? How am I going to use today? If I look at it as more of a, in this case, it would be like um, the next 2 weeks into the next month, that extended outward, that this is one of the areas where I can do something about the degree of unpredictability and variability in functional capacities, as opposed to all the places where I can't, where I don't have influence, where there's no choice in whether there's capacity or not. So this is one of the relatively fewer areas where I can do something. So that gives me a sense of hope and possibility, that when I can remember this strategy, that it's about giving me more overall amount, quantity, and quality of functional capacity in my life in general. And of course, it's an investment in the future. It's actions I can take now, planning and actions in the now that are an investment in future possibility. It's very empowering um, to come to clarity around places where I do have the possibility of choice and action. Um, to help shepherd, to preserve, and expand the capacity that's available within the existing circumstances. I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you again for listening. May you have many moments of relative wellness and ease in your life today. Namaste.